everyone. This is my friend Eric, known as the Gearmanndude.
In some circles.
In some circles. In our circle here.
Yes.
Also known as Blues Master. Trying to be clever here, but with jet lag, it's a little bit hard.
I know. It is. People don't understand the whole jet
No.
lag. When I say people, I mean me.
Right.
People do understand it. I don't understand it until it soaks in, and I go, wow, I am not impervious to this.
It's hard. This is day 2 of GuitCon, everyone. 2018. This is GuitCon number 2. We both were at number
Absolutely.
1.
We are veterans.
Through our vets.
Yeah.
GuitCon vets.
War vets.
And last year we didn't get to do, well, we got something on your channel.
Yep.
Little interview, little talk.
Little interview, man, dude.
But I
which
thought
was fun.
we need to get in a room together for a little while and talk.
And here we are.
So, for those of you who don't know, Eric's been known for pedal demos.
Yep.
Well, still today, right?
Sure, yeah. Pedals. I still do guitars and amps, but
Yep.
few and far between. It's definitely 95% pedals that
Yep.
I do.
And I remember the first video I watched was during that whole thing where people thought you were Jack Black.
Oh, yeah.
Because people would see the boots.
Well, that was for many, many
Right?
years.
Yeah.
And they still do, even after
Really?
being on camera like this. I can put a demo out tomorrow, and there's some 14-year-old kid or something who hasn't seen the GuitCon thing or a NAMM show or whatever. It's the first demo he's seen.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, that's Jack Black. I mean, right now somebody is saying that on.
You do sound a little like him.
I get it. I didn't believe it at first, but I understand it now.
But you're way cooler in real life. So
I don't know. He seems really cool to me.
Does.
So
I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
sure he's cool too.
I bet he is. We could be separated at birth.
Because for years, that's all we saw. We never saw your face.
Yeah.
And so that's where it came. And
Which wasn't, on purpose. It happened that way. And then once I caught on to it, I thought, well, now I am never going to, I'll never turn the camera around now. Why ruin a good thing?
That's smart.
So,
was GuitCon last year the reveal?
Yeah, I think it was.
The official
I think
one?
it was, yeah. I mean, I'd done a few things where I was there in person, and you could certainly see that I was not Jack Black, but maybe I had a mask on or something, But yeah, that was the first time just sitting on camera talking.
Yeah. So
and it didn't have any big negative or positive ramification on me at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. It was like it never happened.
That's funny.
Which is what I expected.
Yeah.
I thought, well, as long as you don't make a big deal out of it.
Right. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna care.
I'm checking my mic. Sorry, we won't cut this, but it's still good. Okay, thank you. So, question: because you've played through so many pedals, your knowledge at this point, after 10 years, 12 years,
going on 11 years.
your ear is probably pretty well tuned to what you like, what you don't like, what things do, and so forth. Mine is not. I'm completely the opposite. I've never really I have tons of respect for people who can craft tones and understand it, but I never really spend time on it.
Right.
I get bored tweaking things. I love good tone, but I don't know how to get there.
I'm similar. I get bored tweaking things
Really?
too. Oh yeah, I get to a few settings and I'm not looking for multiple settings out of one piece. I'm looking for one setting out of that. And then there's another piece for that next setting.
Yeah. Well, so this is good because maybe you can help players like me who, let's say I'm going on a good rock lead tone. Okay, just something that I can use in my teaching or sessions, whatever.
Sure.
And I can get 4 pedals.
Yep.
I want to build a 4 pedal board thing. We talked a little bit about it yesterday where you hosted a session, but let's do it here. You want to build a 4 pedal board for a rock, type of thing. What do you get? What do you suggest? And I'm not talking vintage, rare to find stuff.
Just stuff that everyone can get.
Yeah.
Well, certainly, start with some sort of a drive pedal.
Yep.
I think you kind of need 2 drives these days, depending on what amp you're using. So I'm going to start with 2 drives, something mild like a Tube Screamer.
Yeah.
And I'm not picky about them. Anybody's Tube Screamer clone, style of pedal, I like all of them because I know what they sound like.
Yeah.
I like the JHS one a lot. But we could go out and grab a Joyo Tube Screamer and it would be just fine.
Yeah.
It would be great. And then a high gain sort of overdrive, something that emulates a Marshall or a Mesa sort of sound, That could be, again, I'm sorry to use JHS again, but I use a pedal of theirs called the Sweet Tea, which has a tube screamer and a JCM 800 in it.
Yeah.
Now there's and again, I think most companies probably make something similar. That's just the one that I use. You don't have to get that one, but that would be a good place to start. Wampler makes great pedals as well that are great, heavy overdrives, mild overdrives. You know, his stuff is fantastic. After that, I hate to say that you would need a delay or a reverb because I never used either of those for forever. So I'm going to skip those and say some sort of a modulation pedal. A Phase 90, I think, is a great pedal. One knob, you know, and it just goes. That's all you need. It's one. That's an extra sound for you, a freak out sound, and then a wah pedal.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's it. I would use those 4 pedals. To me, would get it done.
Okay. So you'd pick a phase versus a chorus.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get some phase effects.
I'd rather have both.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
But yes, if I was just if I'm putting 4 pedals together, that's it.
Okay. Cool. That's good.
Because I used to use a Phase 90 and a CE2, a Boss chorus pedal. And I, could get all of the warbly sounds I needed out of those two.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. I need to get I would like to get a simple education in tone. And it's almost embarrassing. Like how I talk to fellow players, I've been playing for a long time. And my tone knowledge, if they're really new,
I think that's like, there's nothing wrong with that.
Minimal. It's like
become such an obsession and such a marketable thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's when really it's in your fingers.
Yeah, some of it.
I have yet to. I've done. I don't know. This is number 4. I think the 4th deal I've done here at GuitCon, and I have yet to plug into a pedal.
Okay. Yeah.
I've used a twin reverb straight in. I'm using this Hughes and Kettner. I forget which one this is.
That's the Grandmeister
the Deluxe 40.
Yeah.
Which sounds great.
In there, right?
Then there's just it has effects.
It does. Yeah. Not now. You've got them bypassed,
but I have yet to actually do it. Now, I don't necessarily have the greatest tone in the world in my hands, but I think you have to start there for sure.
I agree.
Some guys do. We could walk 10 guys in here, every one of them play this.
Yeah.
And every one of them would sound different.
Yeah.
And some of them it sounds like there's a pedal on. I don't know how
that's
I don't know how they do it.
That's so true. That's so true.
They're just magic.
I've had that happen before. Like a guy would play, awesome tone. I want to grab it because I want to play through that.
It just sounds different. But yet he may hear you and go, I love that way
Maybe.
that sound.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and tone is in the ear of the something.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about playing a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first lick you learned? Or, you can make one up.
Yeah.
Something similar
First
to that.
thing I learned, I didn't play guitar yet. And I was at a sleepover, little kid, I don't know, 9 or 10 years old, and a friend had his dad's guitar, and he was playing. I haven't played this ever since, but.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
He's like, that would be Rick Springfield. I was like, that's incredible. Show me how to do it.
So that was the starting point?
That was it. So I was hooked at that moment.
That's
and,
awesome.
I sat up all night and he's like, will you stop? I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
So that was it.
That's really cool because I talked to a lot of guys here about how they got into guitar.
Yeah.
And to me, this is such a like an adventure because you pick it up and it can be intimidating, but it's also very inviting to search things around. Whereas pick up a violin, it's like I've got to have proper technique. I've got to take lessons. Whereas this really, I think, encourages like exploration and I feel that the guitar in its form has been around for a long time.
Right.
Medieval times had like some sort of guitars, but
a lute. Double neck lute.
But I still feel that, especially electric guitar, has so much to be discovered.
Yeah. Somebody else comes out and blows your mind every year.
Right.
Somebody new.
And I'm certain that there are some things that we take for granted, like bending, for example.
Sure.
Tapping, whatever, sweeping. I think there's so much more that we haven't thought about.
Absolutely.
And this is very inviting to discover that. So you as a kid, you already had that.
But just somebody made a musical sound, I guess.
Yeah,
right away.
I find it so cool.
I was hooked.
Yeah.
So I learned every song that I could hear. You know, I learned them all with one note.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just went and did everything that I could.
And that taught you so much. I know.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Your ear is engaged, your fingers, and then when you think of when you try to replicate something, da 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 da, there's something like kind of hidden in your subconscious that happens.
There's a melody. You know that you recognize the melody, then you recognize positions.
Yeah, in your fingers, you know, there are muscles involved, and then next time you want to do something similar, ba ba, well, your muscles will almost remember. Okay, that's what I need to do. And
well, look, I mean, that was the Jesse's Girl. That was I don't even know. That would have been 36 years ago, and I haven't played it since then. So
and yet,
36 years later, it's
so cool.
Still locked away in the old noggin.
Yeah, that's why I love the language analogy so much.
Yeah.
It's exactly like that.
Yeah, true.
Because I don't have to think about how to move my mouth to make certain words. It just comes out.
Yeah, that's an excellent way to look at it.
And I can make up a new American word that would sound with the same, you know, types of throat placement and all that, and it would work.
Yeah,
it's cool. That's
very
awesome. I think my first song that I tried to learn was probably. That's a hard question actually.
How old were you when you started playing guitar?
15.
Yeah. I didn't start at that moment when I learned that. I didn't play for another couple of years.
Yeah.
But I remember that moment.
I think it was probably a Beatles song. Maybe Yesterday, the chords.
Good Lord.
You're right. You could have picked something else.
That's the first thing you learned?
No, that I tried to learn.
Oh, yeah.
Not that I played.
Yeah, wow.
It's a big difference. I did not play that, but I wanted to.
Right.
And I tried a few chords, but...
Yeah, I still can't play that.
And then I discovered heavy metal, which at the time was different than today's heavy metal.
Right, yeah, same here. The hair metal in the 80s was it for me.
Yeah, that was big.
So you learned it, and you had to learn a lot of chops. You had to have a lot of dexterity to play that. It was very dynamic, crazy pyrotechnic.
Yeah.
You know, crazy playing. You had to know how to do that if you wanted to. You know, you can make fun of C.C. DeVille all you want, but right now in some club there's somebody playing his licks.
That is true.
They had to learn them to play in their band to go make money. They had to learn CC's riffs. You got to give the guy a little bit of respect.
Absolutely.
And he's got excellent hair and a wonderful accent.
Always helps.
What's not to love? And he's real tiny. You put him right up on the shelf at home. Just pull a little CC down. Go ahead, jump around, do it.
Nice. Do you still perform?
Yeah. I play on a fairly regular basis. In a cover band now. I did original band for many years, which was great. But now just do corporate events and weddings, private parties. You know, the money's great. Everybody in the band is fantastic, and it's a great group of people to play with, all professionals. And it gives me a chance to play. I still get to go set up my gear and play.
Yeah,
which is the fun part.
Are we talking classic rock stuff?
Yeah, modern pop, country.
Modern pop.
The same, just the stuff that you would want to have at any of these events where you've got a mix of people.
Yeah.
We've got oldies, classic rock. There's new stuff. We're playing, things by Pink or Taylor Swift or, stuff I would never in my wildest dreams had thought that, number one, I would ever be playing, and number two, that I would enjoy playing.
Yeah.
But I do. It's
awesome.
It's fun. I mean, I start playing this stuff, and there's 20-something-year-old girls dancing around.
Yeah.
I didn't have that in my original band.
Yeah.
But so I have it now. It's like, wow, what was I thinking all that time?
That's fun. Yeah, right.
So, I'm having a lot of fun doing it.
Good.
And like I said, I still get to go out and use my toys in public.
So tell me a little bit about the business aspect. You still do the store thing?
Yep. I work at a music store, which is unrelated to GearManDude, but it is my day job. And being a music store, it certainly allowed me a lot of opportunities when I started. And I always credited them for anything I would take home and borrow from the store. And,
Yeah.
you know, make sure to give credit where credit's due. But the GearManDude thing just came about, something I was doing at home. And,
Okay.
And just kept the two separate.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought it was linked to the store first, but that's interesting. That's
no,
cool.
we'll probably we keep talking about linking it to the store, but I mean, I don't own the store.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and
It doesn't make sense.
It might make it difficult for me to work at the store because the phone might ring. I don't mean this in a egotistical way.
No.
The phone might ring all day with like, "Hey man,
Yeah. No, that
what do you
makes
think
sense.
about the new tube screen?" We're like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're not an Ibanez dealer. I'm going to have to let you go.
Yeah.
What do you do?
It's a guitar store, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's the Guitar Emporium in Louisville, Kentucky. And you can call me there. Give me a call.
Yep. For store-specific things.
Right. Well, for whatever. It's all fellowship. It's a cool store.
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
Good stuff.
Is it vintage stuff or just everything or?
Well, we've been there for 45 years.
Oh, wow.
75, right? 45 years.
Okay.
So for a long time, yes, vintage has been a huge part of the store's success. Just in the last 5 or 10 years, it seems like it's kind of, I've been there for 20 years, and it seems like the vintage market has really, as far as finding that stuff in music stores, it's not as easy as it used to be because nobody has to walk their gear into the store to sell it. They can go sell it online, or they can, and there's a few places that are, well, not a few, there's a lot of places that are very aggressive about vintage gear still. Chicago Music Exchange, Carter Vintage, Gruen Guitars, all of that. But they're having to pay a huge premium to have that stuff, and then having to mark it up from there. And we just feel if it can't come into us at the normal wholesale that it used to, then we don't want to compete in the market because I don't see the next generation valuing the vintage guitars the same way as the baby boomers who have pushed that value to where it is now. They have pushed the value of not just vintage guitars, but vintage they're vintage now, but old classic cars and antiques and certain art paintings, things like that, collectibles, little figurines and all this stuff that the value has increased, over the decades from the 70s up until now. Well, now all of those people who ruled that market and made that happen, they're not buying things anymore. They're selling everything they have. And they're finding that, well, I was told 10 years ago that this guitar was worth, $8,000. Yeah, well, one just sold for $1,200. That's what somebody was willing to pay for it. It's not worth what it was then. It's not because you're not buying it.
Right.
This kid is not kid, but the 20 and 30 and 40-year-olds, they don't have the income for it, and they don't value the items the same way as the people growing up. It doesn't mean as much to them, and they have a lot more bills to pay. They have cell phone, internet, multiple cell phones, I should say.
Yeah, multiple.
Internet.
Yes.
Clothes are more expensive. Everything's more expensive. Nobody's really making a ton more money to catch up with having 15 bills a month as opposed to having 4, like our parents had. Had mortgage, water, electricity, maybe a car payment.
Yeah.
And
it's a very different world. Yeah.
Telephone. So they had 5.
Yeah.
I mean, we just have so much more to pay for. So am I going to save up and spend $20,000 on a 50s Telecaster just because that's something that I've always wanted to own? And the answer is no way.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Just like, but it's how you value it. And I think that this up and coming generation, in fact, all of the generations that I'm aware of right now, whether it's the Gen X or anyway, they just don't seem to be as smitten with things like vintage guitars. They think they're cool and they're great, but to them it's not. A Sunburst Les Paul is not a $300,000 instrument. It just isn't.
Yeah.
And I think that's good, actually. I mean, even though it's bad for vintage business, I do think that people have hung on to stuff too long. The best option is to now not sell it. You know,
Yeah.
Don't sell it. Hang on to it until hopefully another generation comes in and decides we really think this is special and we believe in it.
Yeah.
So it's
hold
weird.
on to it and just appreciate it.
And just enjoy it. Yeah. Enjoy it and quit, and play it.
Yeah. You play it, it's a piece of history that you have in your hands.
It's not that fragile,
Right,
And it's lived this long. It's a hunk of wood, bolted together, or maybe Les Paul. It's not bolted together. Use it.
Yeah, I agree.
Just use it and quit telling everybody that you have it and that it's worth millions of dollars, because it's not.
Yeah,
it was. That was a short window. It was a very short, and people are still in denial about it.
Yeah,
but that's because they're trying to sell it. Like, this is my retire. How many old guys do you know? I know a million of them, and they're friends of mine. And they've got massive, beautiful collections of stuff. Like, this is my retirement. I'm not worried about I'm going to sell this stuff when I retire. Yeah, you and everyone else.
Right.
At the same time.
Which makes the value go down.
Exactly.
It's not that.
And not only that, but the cost of living has gotten so outrageous with, like I said, a cell phone's a good example, because I have 4 people in my house. And what's a cell phone these days? $600 or $800?
Yeah.
A piece.
Yeah.
I've got to spend $3,000 on
I know, it's crazy.
Cell phones every year and a half.
That's a lot.
It's insane. Yeah. Who makes up these numbers?
Yeah, right. Not me. I'm paying it.
Right. Yeah, we all do.
Right.
Anyway, it's
it's
silly, but it's an excellent question, and that was going way off tangent about the reason I'm so passionate about it is because for 20 years I've been learning a lot about vintage guitars, and it's been very fun. At the store we consider it guitar CSI, because we're dissecting things and finding every little thing that's been changed, and we're just total nerds about it, and it's very fun and enjoyable. Now I don't get the old guitars anymore. Yeah, I mean we do, but we get whereas we used to get 1,000 or 2,000 a year, we might see 20 or 30 cool vintage, maybe 50 cool vintage guitars a year now. Yeah, because they can sell it on their own. They can go to Reverb, eBay, Facebook. Yeah, why sell it to me for 30 or 40% less than what they can sell it for? That's giving it away. It's giving money away. Yeah. So, and that's fine. We found other ways to make money. Other things that people are buying right now. So.
Well, okay, so speaking of like how times have changed, let's talk about time a little bit, and this will be the last question. Sure. If you could go back to your 10-year-old learning Jesse's Girl, would you think of like a tip that you would give to yourself to kind of like bypass some of or just accelerate your learning curve, or like a tip for a 10-year-old musician who is starting?
Yes, and this wouldn't have been for myself. This would be for somebody starting, because I was very fortunate when I started playing guitar. My best friend played drums. Okay. That was why I started playing guitar. I wanted to play drums. I wanted to be just like him. Yeah. And he was I
wanted to play drums too when I started.
Don't get drums, get a guitar and play with me. I said, oh, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And I did. And by having a drummer, I had a metronome all the time. I always had a metronome. So I started right out playing songs, right out of the gate, instead of having to play at home. And not everybody has that luxury. I'm just saying, if you can find a friend, someone the same age, but if you're 10 years old or you're 12 years old, if you find somebody 15 or 16 years and younger, play with them. You don't even have to be starting a band. Just play with them, because you gain so much and from each other.
I know some people
and it pushes you.
It does. Some people might think, well, I got backing tracks, but it's not the same, because there's this living element. Right.
And I do wish, I used to do that when I was a kid. I had to use 4 tape decks, cassette decks, to make a backing track. I'll play this on a tape. Yeah. For like 5 minutes, and then I play that tape, and then over that I'm going.
Right, and you learn so much by doing that. Right. But it's true that playing with a live
with human, a person,
there's it's not going to be perfect, but it's in those imperfections that music becomes perfect.
I think it's inspiring, and it gives you accountability on a daily basis. Absolutely. Is what it did for me. I had to go home and practice because my friend was getting better at the drum, was so much better at his instrument than I was. Yeah. So in order to keep his interest and keep him wanting to play with me, I'd go home and practice whatever we did that day. I'd go practice it for hours.
It pushes you.
Yeah. So accountability.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Everyone, thank you so much. Eric, thank you.
Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Thanks, brother.
And we'll see you at GuitCon next year, maybe. We'll see if we're invited.
That's right.
See you soon.